This time, any member of the community wishes to address the City Council on any matter within this jurisdiction may do so. If you have not already done so, please fill out a speaker's sheet and leave it with the clerk. You can do it before or after you speak, so the fact that you haven't filled it out should not prevent you from coming forward. I have one request to speak so far from Charles Horvath. Mr. Horvath. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Chuck Horvath, and I've been a resident of Tustin for over 35 years. I've seen, to be very candid with you, I've seen a lot of y'all that I'm looking at right now come and go. And over all those years, there have been some really great things that have transpired in this city. There are some that haven't been so great, but there's one that happened within the last couple of weeks that I guess the best way I could put it very much disappointed me, my family, and my neighbors. As you know, we've got an election going on right now for city councilman. And I know those, I know it's a city councilman position, but I do know as well that sometimes they get a little heated. And I think over the course of the years, if I'm not mistaken, I think the city has asked people that are candidates for these offices to sign a statement of fair play, for lack of a better term. And I'm of the assumption more than likely most of them have. About 2 weeks ago, when I was at home on a Saturday, and I had some family in from out of town, and we're sitting around talking, so forth and so on, went out and checked the mail. And in the mail, I saw this piece. I don't know how many of you, I'm assuming, I don't think I was singled out. I wasn't the only one to get this. Okay? And it refers to one of the candidates, and it's California Homeowners Association in Willows, California. I tried to Google the California Homeowners Association. You can't. I called directory assistance in Willows, California. God only knows where but anyway, I digress. I guess my question is, my comment is, my feelings are that this is a pretty pathetic indictment of a young man who comes from our community, grew up in our school system, and a very classy kid. To be very candid with you, I'm more than disappointed in Doug Davert for signing this as a councilman from the city of Tustin. It's slanderous, libelous, it's all of those kind of things, and I would think any lawyer of any consequence would realize that. But beyond that, it's very disappointing, I think, for the young people in our community to see this, to see one of their teachers slandered in the public in such a way where dishonest, unethical, conflict of interest, corrupt, dangerous, with even associations with sexual predators. Now, come on. Let's be men here. Pardon my choice of words, Councilman Gavallo. But I think this is a pretty pathetic piece. I would think at least Doug Davert would eliminate the honorable portion in front of his name, because this is, many things come to mind when I read this. Honorable is not one, okay? I tried to contact Councilman Davert, and there's no way. I looked at everything on the internet. There was nothing. The phone number is unlisted. To kind of talk about this a little bit, I think the only councilman that I know of that I'm in contact with and sends out anything about you people is Councilman Gavallo. And so I contacted her, and I contacted your esteemed new city manager and expressed my displeasure. I would, you know, and I can't speak for David Waldron, a young man who I never met. He was in Model United Nations a few years before my son was, which is an outstanding organization within the city of Tustin. But I think if I could say one thing for him, I would assume he would like to have Doug Davert's address so he could know where to send the flowers when he's elected based on this hit piece that went out. And I think I've said my piece. I appreciate your time, and I hope that maybe in future elections, the council people will have the opportunity to sign a fair, some statement like they require of the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Horvath. It is not generally our custom from this dais to respond to public comment, but since I began with the last council meeting addressing what I consider to be salacious and specious attacks against the city, and since I called out in particular some of the horrendous lies perpetrated by the target of that piece of literature, I think I'll continue by responding to some of the claims you made. First, it's not very difficult. Now, Mr. Horvath, you've had your say. This is my time to speak now. It's not very difficult to contact Councilman Davert. He's easily found. He's easily contacted, even through City Hall, and he responds to all the phone calls and emails he gets. That's always been his policy for the 13 years he served the city, 5 on the Planning Commission and 8 on this dais. He's about to complete his service this year. Secondly, the facts of that piece are undisputed. Not even Mr. Waldron rejects those. Not even he has addressed them as untruthful. They're all documented and backed with sources. None of the people who are addressed in that piece with respect to their participation in his campaign have stepped forward and refuted any of it either. And the truth is, he has misled the public about the city's budget, about the quality of the service of its staff, about the manner in which it handles the public's finances, and a number of other things. He's misled the public about the lawsuit between the school district that he works for and this city. He's distorted the facts about what he'd be able to do should he be elected tonight. He's done all the things he was accused of, and he's refuted none of them. So the piece is entirely accurate. More importantly, that piece is responsive, Mr. Horvath. It responds to literally half a dozen or more pieces of mail, and not counting the number of emails that have been made, the public statements made from this dais, in this chamber, all of which were half-truths or lies about the city, about the way it manages its budget, and about how it's dealt with community members. So everything in there that Mr. Davert wrote is true. Everything Mr. Waldron has said has been spin, hype, or falsehood. He began by spreading that, and Mr. Davert was called upon to answer it. That's the context for the piece you received, and you're right, you weren't the only one to receive it. Thousands have, and you're the only one who's come forward to comment.
Well, I'm not the only one.
The only one that's commented to me, sir.
It's the California Home.
I'm not having a debate with you, Mr. Horvath. I'm responding to your claims so that at least there's context. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that wish to address the council on any matter within their jurisdiction? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and bring it to the council for our regular agenda items. Let me announce first that earlier this evening, thank you, Mr. Horvath. Let me announce that earlier this evening, the council